Angeles for the great show we're putting on this Saturday night at the Fabulous Forum. You have two of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. It's really kind of a throwback show in honor of all the great fights they've had in the history of the Forum. This will be the second fight since they've remodeled it, and we're proud to present Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez versus Edgar Sosa for the WBC Flyweight Championship. Gennady Triple G Golovkin versus Willie Monroe Jr. for the Middleweight Championship. Gennady has the WBA Super Championship, the WBC Interim Championship, and also the IBO title. So we're really excited about the show. We have a great undercard on the show as well. The doors will open at 4:30. First fight will be at 5 o'clock. The tickets are priced at $30, starting at $30, and for that type of value, we've had a great response for the show. So we're excited about that, and we're looking forward to a great turnout. What I'd like to do is, I'd like to bring up, before we start getting into the fight card, I'd like to bring up Jill Diamond from the WBC, and she can talk about some of the charity events that they're involved with.
First, I have to say how proud we are to have GGG and Roman as our champions. This is going to be an amazing, amazing night, and we're so pleased and privileged to be a part of it. So, as a special treat, oh, and I also want to thank Tom, who's provided tickets for the Wounded Warriors on Saturday night. I mean, there isn't a nicer person around. He's always there for us. Another very generous person is GGG. So as a special treat, we're going to introduce a new series of paintings that we're going to do of celebrity boxers for charity. And this is with WBC Cares and World Champions for Hope. And in order to do that, I want to bring up the actor Yancy Arias, who will tell you just a bit about himself and about the painting you're about to see. Yancy?
Thank you, Jill. And yes, I'm Yancy Arias. I'm an actor and filmmaker. You may have seen me in many television and film productions. I usually play cops or bad guys, or a variation of both. I had recently the opportunity to be in the Hands of Stone movie, the Roberto Duran story, with Robert De Niro and Edgar Ramirez. I played the famous Benny Huertas. If many of you remember, that fight lasted 1 minute. Benny Huertas got knocked out in 60 seconds. Yeah, no small parts, only small actors. It was the best 60 seconds of my life. That's what she said. Did I just, wait a minute. No. But speaking of fighters, the truest fighter, right here, Gretchen Ryan. Gretchen Ryan is an amazing person, an amazing talent. If you go to her website, it's beautiful, beautiful artwork that she does. So much that the World Champions for Hope and the World Boxing Council came together and commissioned her to do a series of paintings with celebrity boxers, who will then sign the back of the canvas. And as soon as the purchase has been made, and a purchase of an amount of the sales from the purchase, they will go to the boxer's favorite charity. And in doing so, well, today we celebrate GGG for being the first fighter to come forward so generously to be that fighter. And tonight, this afternoon, we're going to present the finished product by Gretchen Ryan for GGG appropriately at his press conference. A hand of applause for Gretchen Ryan.
With your paper. Yes. Don't have it. It's overtime.
No mistaking for it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you for that. And we always look out for the WBC Cares Charity Foundation, and always willing to support that, especially when Jill came with the opportunity to present the Wounded Warriors for some tickets. So, as she said, there'll be a line of paintings that Gretchen's here live with us today that she'll be doing, and then they're going to auction them live for the charity. So we'd like to support that, and I'm sure it'll be announced from the WBC when the auction happens. With that, I just want to reflect back on some of the past few weeks of boxing leading up to this event. I mean, Artie Lulu is here, representing Willie Monroe Jr. Started out with Provodnikov and Matisse on HBO. That was a tremendous fight. Then we had the fight after that when Vladimir Klitschko defended his heavyweight championship at Madison Square Garden, sold out the arena. He had a very strong rating on HBO. Then actually we had the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Didn't necessarily live up to everyone's expectations, but it certainly brought in, a tremendous amount of exposure for boxing. That followed up with Canelo last week with a tremendous performance against Kirkland. Had monster ratings on HBO. I think the highest rating since 2006. So if you put that in perspective, for the last 9 years, the highest rated event. And now we have two of the best pound-for-pound fighters fighting on HBO at the Forum. So we're really excited about that. These type of events wouldn't be possible, especially this event, without the help and the support for our strategic television partner, the HBO. I mean, this event will be broadcast in over 120 countries worldwide, but it's being produced by HBO, and we're really excited by that. With that, I'd like to bring up, representing HBO, Tony Walker.
Hey, Tony! Well, thanks, Tom. And thank all you guys for coming on a nice Los Angeles day. I'd like to just start out talking about this edition of HBO's World Championship Boxing by talking a little bit about Gennady. It's his 8th appearance on HBO. Starting in 2012, Gennady has built a fan base that loves his skill set in the ring. They love his personality and how he's so open with the fans. They love that he's going for his 20th consecutive knockout, and they love that he will take on anybody, fighting the best in the world several times a year. I would also say that Gennady is one of our franchise fighters because there are very few people that can bring that skill set and bring that total package to the boxing world, and we're very glad to have him. I would like to welcome Willie Monroe to HBO. Willie has earned the right to be on this big stage. He won the 2014 Boxino tournament on ESPN. He's beaten great fighters, and he's a young man that seems to be hungry, and we expect a great fight in the ring on Saturday night. In the Roman Gonzalez Edgar Sosa fight, that is the first time flyweights will be on the main channel of HBO since 1995, which just speaks to the level of fight we expect on Saturday night. Many of you who've been around Los Angeles for a while remember the great Humberto Chiquito Gonzalez, who fought a lot of the Forum, and we expect a similar fight to what Chiquito used to give us in the 90s. So for all of you who are going to be at the Forum, I would ask that you tell your listeners, your viewers, that if they can't be there, to please watch it on HBO. The telecast starts at 7 p.m. on Saturday night, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. As I mentioned, without the support of HBO, these type of events wouldn't be possible. Before the HBO telecast, we do have some great undercard fights, and I just want to recognize some of those fighters. And as Tony had mentioned, we're actually bringing two legends, flying them in, courtesy of the WBC, flying them in for the fight. Probably the most memorable fight that's taken place at the Forum, like my friend Ramiro Gonzalez can remember, or Rudy Hernandez, who were regularly at the Forum fights. We're going to bring in Chiquita Gonzalez and Michael Carbajal as a tribute. had a tremendous war at the forum, and if I'm correct, that was the first time anyone in that weight division got $1 million purse each. So that was a great fight, right, Ramiro? He's the expert.
He started with the pay-per-view. He was the first Mexican.
First Mexican on the pay-per-view. Yeah. So with that being said, I want to introduce some of the undercard fighters. Sitting towards the back, maybe if you could stand up, is Ruslan Madaev. Ruslan, if you want to stand up. You can see Ruslan has Triple G's colors on. He trains with Abel Sanchez up at the Summit Training Camp in Big Bear, and he's 4-0 right now. And we look for some exciting things for him. He fights in the lightweight division. After that, I'd like to bring up to the podium Sanisa Estrada. Maybe she could say a few words. She's undefeated, and she's from East LA.
Hi, good afternoon. I would just like to thank William Lebrecht, K2 Promotions, Bad Promotions, and say thank you for giving women's boxing the opportunity to be on such a great card. And I'm really honored and thankful to be fighting alongside Triple G and Monroe. And I'm just ready to display my skills and talent on Saturday. And thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'll just let my skills speak for itself on Saturday. So thank you.
Like I said, the doors open at 4:30, and the first fight with Ruslan starts at 5. So don't come late, because there'll be some great fights. And Sanisa, a lot of times the female boxers, they put on the best show of the night. So don't miss that fight. Then I'd like to move into also Fredo Duran from Zanfer Promotions. He's 10-0. He fights in the junior lightweight division, but he'll be on the show as well. So that'll be an exciting fight. And then I wanted to bring up my friend from Golden Boy Promotions. I've always had a good relationship with Golden Boy, and Robert Diaz is here representing Golden Boy, and we have Ivan Morales, Eric Morales' brother. I'd like to have Robert come up to introduce Ivan.
Thank you all very much. Before I get started in introducing Ivan, I just want to say how happy we are to be a part of this card. I mean, you have pound for pound two of the best fighters in boxing today. Triple G, Roman Chocolatito, Gonzalez, but most importantly, what you're going to get at the forum Saturday night when you have promoters working with promoters. Look at this card. I mean, you got Banner Promotions with Artie Pelulo, Taken, K2, Golden Boy, Triple G. I mean, you have it all. That's what's going to give the best fighting the best, and that's what's keeping boxing going. Obviously, the last name Morales, you all know it, especially here in LA. He made a big name for himself, future Hall of Famer, but now his younger brother wants to make a name for himself. He's 27-0 with 50 knockouts. Ivan Morales, who will continue the Morales-Barrera rivalry, because Danny Flores is trained and managed by Marco Barrera and Jorge Barrera. So it continues, it'll keep going. Ivan Morales.
Buenas tardes, es un placer para mí estar aquí.
Good afternoon, it's a pleasure for me to be here with you.
Quiero dar las gracias por la oportunidad. I want to say thank you for the opportunity. I want to say thank you, Triple G, the Golden Boy, and all the persons will be possible that.
For everybody that made this possible.
Quiero dar gracias a HBO. I want to say thank you to HBO. Me siento muy contento, muy emocionado. I feel very happy, and this is a dream for me. Estos dos hombres son un ejemplo para mí. Es una excelente oportunidad. This guy is an example for me, and this is a great opportunity. I feel so happy. I feel so happy. And the last night I practiced English all the night. Okay, and this Saturday, I do my best. All the people remember my brother Eric, and this Saturday, you see the best Ivan Morales. I sure this is the great opportunity for me, and I do my best. Thank you very much, everybody.
That'll be, that's a tremendous addition to the show. And Ivan will be actually the first fight on the international broadcast. So his fight will be televised internationally and also in all the 120 countries. So that's great. I just wanted to acknowledge Robert again and really compliment him and Golden Boy on what they did last week. 31,000 people in Texas in the baseball stadium is a tremendous statement. I mean, we've done that with the Klitschko fights in Europe, but to do that here in America for a fight like that is a true testament to what they've done at Golden Boy and the popularity that Canelo has. So we want to just acknowledge that again.
Thank you.
When you have 31,000 people showing up to a boxing event, there's a lot of interest in boxing, and it just depends on the quality of the product that you put on. And that matchup with Kirkland was great, and I think the fights on Saturday will be great, and the fans have responded. So with that, I'd like to move into the HBO fights. It starts live at 7 o'clock with the co-feature. It's really a co-main event when you have an undefeated champion like Roman Gonzalez. He's on all the pound-for-pound lists. I'd like to acknowledge Taken Promotions, who's Roman's promoter. I'd like to acknowledge Carlos Blanda as his manager, and naturally Chocolatito himself for being on the show. And as Tony had mentioned, it's been a long time since you've had flyweights on HBO, and we're really excited. When Peter Nelson came to me with the opportunity, I welcomed it wholeheartedly because I think it's just a natural combination, having Chocolatito against Edgar Sosa and then Gennady and Willie Monroe as the main event. It pretty much provides action for everyone in the event. So with that being said, I'd like to bring up Edgar Sosa. He's a tremendous challenger. He's a former world champion. He has some great wins. He has, he's beaten Brian Gloria. He's beaten Giovanni Sakura. So he's coming to fight, and he realizes this is, for him, it's a great platform also to be on HBO and to be live internationally. So he's really going to come and do his best. So if we could bring up Edgar to say a few words, it would be great.
Buenas tardes a todos. Me encuentro muy contento, agradecido con Dios y con la vida que me permite estar nuevamente aquí en esto que amo tanto, que es el boxeo.
Good afternoon to everybody. I'm very happy, I'm very motivated. I want to thank God and for the life and for the opportunity to be doing what I really love best, and that's boxing.
Agradecido con la gente de HBO, con cada una de las personas que hicieron posible que se lleve a cabo esta cartelera. Me encuentro agradecido y muy contento de poder estar compartiendo, de poder estar en la cartelera con el mejor libra por libra de este momento, que es Golovkin y Román González.
And I'm very grateful to everyone that made this possible, HBO, Tom, everyone involved, and I'm very motivated, very happy to be participating in such a great card, fighting alongside pound for pound the best fighter in boxing like Triple G and Roman Gonzalez.
Vamos a hacer una gran pelea, vamos a hacer hice una excelente preparación en México con respeto al rival y a toda la gente, a la afición que va a pagar una entrada y va a pagar el pago por evento. Entonces es por eso que me preparé a conciencia allí en México, y bueno, sé que es una gran oportunidad de que la gente pueda ver que hay gasos todavía para rato, y bueno, venimos con la convicción de ganar la pelea.
I did a great preparation, obviously knowing what I have in front of me. I respect Roman very much, so my training was very good. I'm ready for Saturday night. We're going to give the fans, out of respect for what they pay for, all of you fans that come out and watch, a tremendous fight. And I'm ready. I'm coming with the conviction that I know I'm going to win this fight on Saturday night.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Edgar, and just acknowledging Robert Diaz again for doing our translation. Edgar is promoted by Zanfer Promotions. They brought the Tecate sponsorship with them, so we're really thankful to Zanfer as well for agreeing to take this fight. Just like we have a hard time getting opponents for Gennady, I know Tyken and Carlos, they have a hard time getting opponents for Chocolatito. So with that being said, I want to introduce the manager of Chocolatito, and he can say a few words about the champion, Carlos Plano.
Hello to all. We're very happy to be here. It's a great opportunity. We want to thank K2 Promotions for making this possible. HBO, it's definitely a big opportunity for us. It's a dream come true for Roman and all of his team. Our promoter, Taken Promotions, for being able to work with everybody, being able to get this opportunity, and definitely it is harder and harder these days to get a fight for Roman, but we know we got a lot of fights ahead of us, harder challenges. We respect Edgar Sosa. We believe he's an excellent champion. It's an honor to fight with a WBC former world champion, and just want to thank everybody and all the promoters out there, like Robert was saying, that get together, that make these fights available so the boxing fans and the boxing public can have great events just like they deserve. So once again, thank you very much, and I'll leave you with Roman. Thank you, Taken, and K2 Promotions specifically. Thank you.
So now we'll bring Roman to the ring. He's the WBC flyweight champion, undefeated, 42-0, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez.
Buenas a todos, Dios me los bendiga. Estamos en muy buenas condiciones para el 16 de mayo la pelea con Edgar Sosa. Agradecido con Dios porque Dios me ha dado la oportunidad de pelear una vez más aquí en los Estados Unidos, y pues es una oportunidad en mi vida una vez más.
He wants to thank God first and foremost for this opportunity, for the people that made it possible for him to be able to fight against Edgar Sosa. He's very thankful. He's trained hard, and he feels that he can get a good fight.
Agradecerle antes de todo a HBO, a Taken Promotion, a Kimi, a mi equipo de trabajo, a mi familia, porque ha valido la pena el esfuerzo, y el día sábado pues invitamos a todo el público que vayan a la pelea, que va a ser una excelente pelea.
He wants to thank HBO, K2 Promotions, Taken Promotions, Academy, Mr. Honda, everybody, and he invites all of us to go May 16th to this fight. It's going to be an excellent fight. He's trained very hard, and he will give his best.
Es una bendición pelear en una velada donde mi amigo Golovkin, y pues formar parte de esa velada para mí significa mucho y una bendición.
He believes it's a blessing and a great honor to fight under Triple G, a great champion, a great boxer, and he believes it will be an awesome fight.
Muchas gracias, y pues esta pelea se la dedico primeramente a Dios, a mi familia y a todo el pueblo que van a ver esta pelea.
He dedicates this fight to God and to all of the countrymen from Nicaragua that will be seeing this fight.
Thank you, Roman. I just wanted to acknowledge Akimi, who's in the back here, and also Mr. Honda from Taken Promotions. Without their support, this fight wouldn't have been possible, and it was it was easy to put this co-feature together, and it's a perfect complement, as I mentioned, to the fight between Gennady and Willie Monroe. It's hard to steal the show with Gennady providing so much action in the ring, but I have a feeling the fight between Ramon and Edgar Sosa is going to be a very exciting fight, so don't miss that one. Again, that one goes live on HBO, 7 o'clock here on the West Coast, 10 o'clock East Coast time. With that, I'd like to bring up the promoter who I've known for a long time. In fact, Artie promoted the show when Gennady had his first appearance on HBO, September 2012, at the Turning Stone Casino. That was against Sosa from Poland, and ever since then, ever since Gennady made his debut in September 2012, just under 3 years, his career has skyrocketed. And Tony can tell you, I don't think they've ever seen a fighter with the ratings increase that they've seen with Gennady over the last 2.5 years. So with that, I'd like to bring up from Banner Promotions, the promoter of Willie Monroe Jr., Artie Pluly.
Good afternoon, everybody. First thing I want to say is thanks to Gennady Golovkin and Abel and the team, Golovkin, and most importantly Tommy, for giving Willie the opportunity to fight for the Middleweight Championship of the World. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but I want to thank HBO, I want to thank Tony also, Peter Nelson, Ken Hirschman, all the guys who know that the quality of fighter that's in front of you today is going to be one great fight on Saturday night. Most of you guys don't realize what you're about to see. And most of the people in the room believe it's a one-sided fight, which is incorrect. And he's here because he's a real fighter. But first I'd like to introduce to you his trainer. He's been with him for a couple of years, ever since he started with him at the Boxino tournament. Tony, why don't you come on up and say a few words on behalf of Willie. But thank you very much for having me.
I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank K2, Banner Promotions, HBO, Gennady, Abel. I know Abel will have them ready. We're ready. So we're going to go out and put on a great show. Right, there's going to be a changing of the guard. And we're going to do what we do. And we've been winning. We're going to keep winning. And I hope it'll be a great show. I know everyone is looking for an exciting show. It'll be exciting on our end. I believe they'll be bringing their excitement too. I just want to thank everybody for coming out, and we will do what we do on the 16th. So everyone come out and enjoy it. If not, watch it on HBO. Appreciate everybody for coming out.
Artie, correct me if I'm wrong, but Willie's undefeated since he's been working with Tony, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so that's a testament to Tony's training ability, and sometimes you need that chemistry between a fighter and a trainer to really elevate the fighter to a different level. And we found that with Gennady and Abel. Abel Sanchez has one of the most revered training camps in the world. Sits atop Big Bear Lake, California, high altitude. It's actually called Summit High Altitude Training Camp. It's had many world champions come out of there. I think the best one is sitting here at the dais right now, which is a testament to the quality of where Gennady's at. Gennady, there's no question Gennady had a historic amateur career. He won the World Championships a couple times, and a silver medal at the Olympics in 2004. But when you take his amateur background and pedigree and combine that with what Abel's taught him on the professional from his background, then you have a very lethal combination. So with that, I'd like to bring up Abel Sanchez.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you to all for coming out and recognizing these great fighters. I'm sure that Tony's going to have Willie in great shape, so I'd like to thank Artie for working with Tom to put the fight together, and for Willie accepting it. It's getting tougher and tougher to get a quality opponent as Willie is to face Gennady, so we're looking for a tough night. I know Willie's going to do his best, and Gennady's going to do his best, and we're going to put on a great show for HBO and the fans watching. Thank you very much.
Before we bring up the main event fighters, just want to acknowledge a few more people in the room today. One person who's believed in Gennady since the first time I sent him an email after we signed Gennady, and my vision, naturally, and my promise to Gennady and Oleg was if they signed the promotional contract, then we'd make him a star here in America. The first place and the first person I thought of was Sal Federico, who's here today, and that from Madison Square Garden. The MSG company purchased the Forum, did a complete renovation of it, and now it's one of the best venues in the world. They've got great concert events. U2 is coming up at the end of this month, and they had the Eagles last year, and so it's a really tremendous building. I think it's going to be a treat for everyone that remembers it from before, and now to see the transformation. It's a tremendous thing. So we'd really like to thank Sal. He was instrumental in having Gennady's first fights there at the theater, originally at the Garden, and then Gennady headlined the main arena last year with the fight against Daniel Peel. Also, for my team, events like this wouldn't be possible. We have Bernie Marmasal, Melissa Moscow, Rondi Nicola, who's here, John Hornauer, and then my right-hand person, Erica St. Philip. Without them, I wouldn't be able to be standing up here talking about these type of events, so I really appreciate that. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring up Artie again, and he can introduce Willie.
Thanks, Tom. Most of you in this room don't know the name, maybe some of the younger reporters do, Mickey Duff. Mickey Duff was the biggest promoter in Europe with Jarvis Astaire in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And in the latter part of his career, I was a young man in the fight business promoting fights. I've been doing it for about 28 years now. And I learned a lot from Mickey and Bob Arum and Jarvis, and men of that ilk, of that era. And they taught me how to be a promoter by watching. You learn by example. Your children learn by example. And Mickey once said something to me, Artie, when you have a fighter and he's in a position to fight for the championship of the world, you're going to see what kind of guy you have. And when, especially if he's supposed to be fighting the best guy in that division. I said, what do you mean, Mick? He said, you'll see if he takes it. You'll see if he comes up with an excuse. You'll see if he says, should we do another fight first? You'll see if he says, well, it's not the right money. It's not the right venue. It's not the right rent. And I learned a lot. And those conversations from older promoters helped Tom Loeffler and Artie Blula, who's probably 60, so I'm not younger anymore, but help you realize what's in front of you when you're negotiating deals with athletes. And I've been doing this for like 28 years. So this young man over here, he goes out and he wins a tournament that I created a couple of years ago called Boxuna. I've owned it for about 25 years, is where I found another fighter, Acelino Popo Freitas, many years earlier. Goes out, doesn't know who he's fighting. Because the tournament, it's a random draw. There's a reason for the story, so just bear with me. So none of the fighters in the tournament knew who they were fighting. It was all random draw. You would see a lot of the fighters who didn't want to be in the tournament until they knew who they were fighting. That's a fighter. So the random draw happened, wasn't favored to win the tournament, beats everybody hands down. Next fight, now he becomes rated the WBA, WBC, IBF. Now he has to fight Brian Beer. Not have to, the fight came upon him. The fight with Brian Beer, and Brian Beer is looking for a fight because he had those two hellacious fights with Chavez Jr. I thought he won the first one, but we didn't win the second one. So just make the fight, because this is going to help my career. So we made the fight. And he hands down destroyed him, beat Brian, beat him every punch, every round, and he wins a unanimous decision. Now he becomes the number 2 rated contender in the WBA. Tommy Loeffler calls me, I don't know, 8 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago. He says, well, there's an opportunity for Willie to fight the best middleweight on the planet. And he is, everybody knows that. Willie has to do his job to become the best. He's got to beat him. That's the business. That's what fighters do. You got to win fights. So I called him up. True to form, make the fight. Now he has other options. He can say to his promoter, I don't want to fight this guy. He can say to this promoter, I want to do something different, because he's now won 4 in a row. Everybody in the world has seen him. ESPN is in 120 million homes and in another 100 countries. He has now become a player. And he says, make the fight. Before the deal is in place, he says, make the fight. Back to Mickey Duff, that's a fight. That's what fighters do. Saturday night is going to be a great fight. On Saturday night, one of the best middleweights in the world is going to take on the best middleweight in the world because he wants to be him. And that's how you make fights. Fighters fight. I want to thank you very much for having us. That is a true story, people. True story. Not one time did this kid ever say to me, don't make me the best fight. He wants to fight the best. Now I introduce you Willie Monroe. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd just like to thank God for blessing me with this opportunity, blessing me with an opportunity to challenge for the middleweight title. I'd like to thank Tom. I just recently, you were following me on Twitter, weren't you? You were following all my tweets. I was like, who is this retweeting now? But thanks to Tom, thanks to Triple G Promotions, thanks to Artie. A special thanks to my team, my head trainer, Tony Morgan, my assistant coaches, Danny Akers, Lee Davis, and my assistant trainer, TJ, and my little brother, Trent. It's been a long up and down road for me as a fighter, and a lot of people are making me the underdog, which rightfully so. I'm in a position to fight the best middleweight in the world, so I can't be two underdogs. I have to be the underdog, right? But I'd like to let you guys know that I've literally been the underdog since I was conceived in my mother's womb. And I don't mean that figuratively, I mean that literally. And these are the type of opportunities that I relish, you know. And like Artie alluded to earlier, every fight that's been offered to me, I've accepted. You know, I haven't turned down, I haven't second guessed it. And I'd like to thank Gennady himself for saying I'll fight with him, because honestly, I'm a stylistic enigma to the style of Triple G, and he feels that he can beat anybody. So I mean, I think both of us at the top of our careers right now feel that we're the best. And May 16th, one will come out on time. God bless. Thank you guys for coming out, and thanks Triple G and thanks for his team. God bless you guys.
That's a true story of what I already said. When I first called him up, and it is a true story that Gennady really wanted to fight a southpaw. When I first called him up, he was surprised. He said, why would you want to fight Willie Monroe? Everyone avoids him, he's a southpaw. But within 2 days, we had the deal points in place, and it wasn't, you get a sense, from my side, you get a sense on, well, we'll fight Gennady, but just not in the next fight, or maybe, you know, down the road, and that wasn't the case at all with Willie or with Willie Monroe, so we really appreciate that, Artie and Willie, for really stepping up to the plate. With that being said, I'd like to introduce someone who's really taking the boxing here in America, but internationally, he has some of the highest ratings on television. With the ticket sales for this Saturday night, a young kid from Kazakhstan, coming from a relatively small city, blue-collar city, Karinadar in Kazakhstan, will be the highest ticket-selling fighter in the state of California over the last 2 years. And that's a big statement. That's a big statement to his marketability. It's a big statement to his style inside the ring and his style outside the ring. He's a guy people like to root for. He's a guy people like to buy a ticket to come see, because they realize not only does he provide excitement in the ring, they actually like to root for him. And that's a big statement. So with that, I'd like to introduce the WBA Super Champion, WBC Interim Champion, and the IBO Middleweight World Champion, Gennady Triple G Golovkin.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you feeling today? Good. I think Saturday night it feels much better because we will have good present for everybody. I know everybody
really 100%. You know, everybody is professional out there. And everybody understands the situation. You know, thank you very much, of course, HBO. It's a big present for California fans, not for California fans, for everybody, and for boxing fans. Thank you very much for promotions, for partners. You know, it's a great deal. It's a big deal, big present. And I promise great show. I promise great event because you know everybody really 100%, and I think this is amazing time, amazing scene in California. Welcome to Power. Thank you guys.